Here's why I don't date black women. Listen to me when I'm talking to you lot.
I'm listening.
Because you lot don't like to listen.
I'm listening.
I don't date black women because you don't like to get put in your place. And when you get
place?
your place.
Which
and when you
place?
get put in your place, you think you've got taught like a man.
That's why they were cheating on you then.
You're not men.
That's why they were
Watch
cheating
this.
on you.
Stay in your place.
Don't date black women.
To be your emotional pack mules, your surrogate memmies on the rebound, only after your preference drags you. Don't date black women.
Not why do I prefer to date white women, it's why do I not prefer to date black women. Now,
Nasty, derogatory, bitter, extremely ignorant.
How do you feel about black women?
I like women, all women, far as Shay equally. I like
He didn't ask you about all women. She's specifically asking you a question, sir.
It all boils down to who that individual black woman we're talking about. In the community, you know, a lot of black men have had to step away, you know, if we want peace of mind, if we wanted different.
Okay, let me ask you a different question. Way different question. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. How you feel about Latina women?
Very affectionate, catering, you know, sweetheart, beautiful culture, you know, flavorful food, you know. I didn't feel emasculated, you know. I just, oh gosh. My El Salvadorian one was a sweetheart. Just, she had 3 boys, but I mean, I believe that, you know, Latina woman, yes, sexiest women around.
Do you have a legit preference, or are you really just prejudiced? Ever since dating has been a hot topic on social media, there's been a lot of discussion about gender roles and traditional values, who brings what to the table, who is the table, what a provider actually is, and so on and so forth. Some of it being healthy discussion, and some of it being laced with misogyny or misandry, with some people going so far as to generalize entire groups of women or do things like create TikToks to dunk on men who aren't 6 foot tall.
Oh, he's 5'9", sorry.
Oh, 5'9", that's a little short. You're 5'9".
Why don't women like short men, right? Okay, one side of it could be beauty standards. Who made those? Other men, okay? Other men are the ones who have said you have to be tall to be considered manly. That's because of y'all. That's one. 2, a lot of times short men are horrible.
Oh, totally.
Why? Because they have what's called the Napoleon complex.
Look it up if you don't know it.
A short man syndrome. That's literally a psychological thing that they have.
Y'all gonna hate me for this, but maybe y'all won't. But I feel like every time a man has a bad opinion, or they just a horrible person, or like emotional, just like attention seeking or any of that stuff, it's usually because they're short.
The gender war has gotten so weird so fast, it's honestly hard to keep up with. All you see is outrageous expectations, colorist ideals, internalized or blatant racism, and very bad advice for choosing a significant other. Another thing that people like to lean on in a lot of these discussions are the stereotypes they've given certain groups of people. Specifically from men, I've seen things like white women are more agreeable, Asian and Latin American women are more submissive, and of course, black women are ghetto and loud. And all of this nonsense starts to sound less and less like people looking for real, healthy relationships, and more like people creating a character in 2K. We're getting into La La Land, and preferences start looking like some other shit. But this is where it kinda gets funny too, because even though everybody's now an expert in tradition, femininity, and masculinity, nobody seems to be honest about what they truly desire. Nobody wants to admit that really, a lot of the time, they just want a specific look. Or they have a fetish. If you got a fetish, just say you got a fetish, bro. It's okay. Just say you want waifu. As men, we go through great lengths to hide how we truly feel about some shit. Niggas do all this posturing about being manly online and being traditional this, traditional that, women this, women that, you can't date these types of women, blah, 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 all day long, which has some nuggets of truth, just to hide the fact that they got a fetish. Look, everybody has their thing. No matter what the comment section of a video would tell you, all right? We're adults. But the issue with this type of fetishization is it's reducing that woman down to a stereotype and treating her as if she's a trophy, which isn't bad on the surface until you get to the root of why it's being done. Then the dynamic just seems weird, at least from the outside looking in. And yes, women do this shit all day long too. White women who say they only date black men, I'm looking at you. Like and subscribe. But this also dehumanizes the person and just turns them into this object or animalistic thing. We have a lot of phrases that do this too. I'm sure we're all familiar with the ones that are pretty much accepted and seen as phrases of endearment, like black men having a big dick, or big booty Latinas, and some that are super fucked up, like Asian men having a small and black women having bad attitudes, or Latin American women stabbing you if you piss them off and selling your organs. And I somewhat have personal experience with this, not the selling the organs part, but my wife is Afro-Latina. And I remember her telling me a manager that she had, some creepy old guy about to retire, told her that he knew she wasn't like other black girls that worked there. And he knew she had to be mixed with something else because she just couldn't have been a regular black woman. Effectively saying her looks and the way she carries herself is different, even though she's still black. But automatically, he essentially just said in so many words, you're not black. You're the stereotypical Latina that I have in my mind. So therefore, you must be better. Regular black woman bad, Latina good. There was even another situation back in high school that I remember vividly where someone I was cool with at the time, black kid, had a white girlfriend. I think they're married now actually. He said that you needed to get a white woman because it was a sign of respect or hitting the come up. I remember being so confused by that shit and I still don't understand it. Well, I understand it, but I don't understand it. To have that in your mind as a 17-year-old is wild to me, but things like that are taught to young black kids or people of color every day through social media, music, and sometimes by the parents themselves, right? Even throughout the world. For example, there's a saying in the Dominican Republic that's used called mejorar la raza, which translates to improve the race, which implies marry someone white or light-skinned with good hair.
To improve the race, to make it wider. That is what mejorar la raza means, and that is what a lot of Latin people are consistently told by their family and friends. And there's this concept of hair, that I have good hair and that people that have curlier hair have bad hair. I am Dominican and I am considered one of the lighter ones in my family. My mother is the whitest one among her siblings because my grandfather was white and he married someone darker skinned. And my father is the darker skinned one because my grandfather, who was white, married someone who was darker skinned. People are encouraged to marry white, to marry someone that is lighter skinned than you and someone who has good hair so that your kids can come up to be white with good hair. The concept of whiteness is not limited to the United States. Latin people are telling their kids marry white, to the point that if we have a black boyfriend, that represents a problem and our family rejects that person.
I was told also, for being black, you're very pretty, so don't mess it up by being with a black person. Look at your features, don't mess that up. And I was told so many things out of ignorance. It literally took high school for me to actually bother to take time to educate myself and understand that it was just that generational ignorance that was passed down from one generation to the other, that it just came out of a place of ignorance. That's what you were taught. And you're passing it down to me. You're telling me that, then you're basically telling me that my black is not beautiful.
The same thing happens in Asia, where Koreans, the Japanese, and Chinese are encouraged to marry white people for better economic opportunity.
For most Asian American women, marriage to white men is considered highly advantageous, and our families really encourage it. It's not like the struggle, interracial love that our parents oppose because they want us to have Asian husbands. Absolutely not, no. It might have been that way decades ago, and some communities discourage it more than others. I think Koreans really prioritize marrying other Koreans. That's at least what my ex-boyfriend told me. But at least in China and for Chinese Americans, which is what I am, getting a white husband is a flex. It is something that you show off to your entire family. You talk about how your kids are going to have blonde hair and blue eyes, even though they're not. Your whole family is going to be so excited that you got an American husband. Yes, even if you are Asian American, they will call only white people American. That is a thing. They always view it as a step up in life. Even if your white man is broke, Even if he treats you badly in front of everybody, they'll just say, why aren't you working hard enough for his acceptance? If you do more, then he will really accept you and he won't cheat on you with a younger Asian woman. Absolutely not. And I know this view is so prevalent because a lot of divorced older Chinese aunties will swear off Asian men and only go for white men, specifically Trump supporters. There's also this idea in our community that Asian men are a lot more misogynistic than white men, which is absolute bullshit. Misogyny just looks different. And if you are raised culturally Chinese, you will not be as attuned to the way that misogyny shows up in Western society and how it will show up in your marriage to a white man.
It gets deep and fucked up. But this thought process can often spiral into men allowing themselves to be mistreated or taken advantage of just for them to say they have a Latina. For example, the attitude is seen as sexy instead of ghetto because she's cussing you out in a romance language. And on the white side of things, I notice there's black men who are willing to put up with racism from the family of a partner just to have a white woman on their arm. And you start to wonder what's really going on internally with that person. And I say that as someone who lives in a state with a lot of racism. Like, do you really like this girl, or are you on some Kendrick shit trying to get payback for the ancestors? And does she really like you, or is she trying to piss her dad off? And multiple things can be true at the same time. Maybe it's a revenge tour for you and an act of rebellion for her. Or maybe y'all do like each other. But sometimes these types of relationships are built on a shitty foundation of prejudice, racist, or ignorant stereotypes. There's also a trend of racially ambiguous women using black men as accessories for aesthetic purposes and clout to put themselves in rooms they wouldn't normally be regulars in. That could be its own video. But us as black men put ourselves in position to be taken advantage of more than we're willing to admit for companionship. And this could stem from so many different things, from not being accepted by the black community as a black man. Maybe you grew up in a majority white area and you just don't connect to black culture. Maybe the homies used to pick on you, or maybe there's something else mentally going on that's subconsciously causing you to make these decisions and have a disdain for women that look like you. And we often see this play out in communities that involve traveling abroad, like the passport bros, where they're traveling overseas to find a woman that's more traditional and submissive. And I'm talking about the ones actually traveling to find love, not the ones flying overseas to trick and be abusive. I have an entire video on those sick idiots you can watch if you want, but the ones who are telling you the grass is greener on the other side and that these women don't expect as much as American women or Western women, and that money doesn't matter and they don't expect the man to do everything while they do nothing. When in reality, in places like Latin America and Asia, they expect the man to be a provider. The provider of everything, in fact, especially since you're bringing American dollars. They expect you to pay for everything and even support their family financially, or have them move in with you guys. Not to mention Asian women are stereotyped to be a little bit bossy and control everything, including your finances, including the fact that in countries like Japan, there's a big issue with men being in sexless marriages after a child is born. And then there's women in China who are becoming more educated and putting relationships on the back burner, which is the same thing I see men complain about when it comes to women in the West. But this is seen as acceptable because the woman is from Latin America or Asia. For some reason, it's okay to be a provider in that scenario. It seems like a lot of mental gymnastics to justify the fact that you love the idea of having an Asian or wife or girlfriend from Latin America. And I'm not just pulling this out of thin air. You can find tons of Reddit posts by men frustrated because they've essentially turned themselves into a bank account for a woman from Southeast Asia or Colombia. It's pretty sad, to be honest, and a lot of them don't have much dating experience in their own country. They're walking licks to these women, but they want companionship that bad, and that woman wants a better life even more. Even when they have to act like the stereotypical Asian, Latina, or African for years to get it. And sometimes when they do get it, you'll see a post about how the couple got divorced and she took everything and it was all a ploy, a ruse, and how they've been hoodwinked. This isn't all international relationships, of course. I grew up on and outside of a military base, so I've seen it work, but I've also seen it crash and fucking burn. Something else pretty odd is how much grace is given to women of other races or ethnicities. For example, I've seen YouTube videos with Latin American women in them, and every comment is talking about how natural she looks, or how her hair is real and she has no makeup and she doesn't wear fake nails. I just want to point out this Dominican woman has on a wig, a face full of makeup, eyelashes, and tattoos down her left arm. You could drop her in any city in America and she'd fit right in, no issues. You wouldn't even know she's Dominican if she didn't talk, all right? Y'all gotta stop acting like just because they're confined to an island, they're not doing this shit, all right? They do it too. That's all. Back to the video. Her personality is that of an angel, which then turns into all women from Latin America are like this, which then turns into this is why women from the West are losing, which then slides into putting down black women or making anti-black comments. All of which was assessed and done for a 30-second clip because you see a light-skinned woman with a fat ass speaking Spanish. Even though there's women that have all of that fake shit on and makeup and have their hair and bodies done all over Colombia and the DR. But all of that just seems to get overlooked. It's a fetish. And on the flip side of that, we have the divesters. The black women who date white men because they think black men are the scum of the earth, when in reality, they just have poor decision-making skills and have no idea why they keep attracting bum-ass niggas. And some find out the hard way that white men are still men at the end of the day. And some men just ain't shit no matter what skin complexion they are. Some white men got baby mama drama too. Some white men are unfaithful. Some white men are terrible fathers, husbands, friends, and some just see women as something to be conquered. It's all universal across the board. But you have influencers romanticizing interracial relationships as if they found their white savior and keys to the kingdom for no other purpose than to push content and make money off of you, while parading their white or black partner around on the internet like a sidekick to a main character. It's their relationship, they can do whatever they want, but it doesn't make it any less cringe. And you can tell it's playing to a specific audience that views the world a specific way. Now, you're entitled to like what you like, but when the reason for whatever preference you have is based on an ignorant stereotype or past trauma or what's popular, that's where the problem comes in. Because not everybody in this world is the same. And you might say, well, it's the culture difference. But people are crazy, self-centered, and full of shit everywhere, even in the most conservative of countries, men and women. There's not a silver bullet to true companionship, not even money. But for some reason, we're quick to label people and throw them all in a bucket and put down groups of people and then romanticize others to justify any prejudiced beliefs we may have. Saying all or most black women are ghetto and loud is like when idiots say all black people are ghetto and criminals. Saying all Asian women are submissive is like saying all Asian women can't drive. You see where I'm going? It's just dumb, and it needs to stop. If you want to get your fetish, go get your fetish. Just don't shit on other groups of people when you do it. You sound hurt, and specifically for the men, women pick up on that shit fast, bro. And if you're telling her something to the effect of, I only date certain types of women because black, Latin American, or Asian women are X, Y, and Z, while you're black, Latino, Asian, or a mixture of any, that's gonna make you look stupid. And if she's sitting there agreeing with you, she just might be racist as shit. And is that really what you want to bring around your family or create a family with? Have you seen how fucked up some of these kids can be if they grow up with a racist parent that married or had a child with someone from that race that they don't like? It's not some shit you want to deal with, bro, all right? Not for some ass. We can do better. But at the end of the day, niggas will still get on the internet and take out their frustration in a random comment section, shitting on black women because one that they really liked in high school told him that he was ashy and was weird for running like Naruto down the hallway. It is what it is. Tighten up. Thanks for watching.